Alright, welcome to another video. In this video we will add validation to our blog app. So first we will add the validation to our sign up and sign in forms, and then we will add validation to the posts, so the user can't create the post without title and description. So currently if I click sign up, so the password can't be blank. This validation is already added because this is added by the bcrypt gem that we are using. Other than that, if I add any password, and you can see that it creates an account, but we did not know which name and which email is associated, because the user did not add any email. So we have to add validation here. So let's start. Before starting, if you are not subscribed my channel, please subscribe. So let's go to back and let's go to our trace console. If we check our user.last user, you can see that the name is empty and the email is empty, but only the password is set. So let's destroy this user.last.destroy, and this user is now deleted. And let's go here and refresh, and then let's go to our sign up form. Let's add the validation on the front end, and then we will add the validation on the back end. So let's go to our registrations, new, and then here we can add an attribute of required to true, and then we can also add this same attribute to the email, and then add this same to the password. Okay, and go back here, and if I refresh and then click sign up, you can see it will ask for this name first. If I add the name, and then if I click sign up again, you can see it says that email is required. If I add an invalid email, but it is saying that you should add this @ symbol, because this input field is of type email, that's why the validation is by default added. If I click sign up, it is saying add a valid email. So if I add this valid email and then click sign up, but it is saying that add a password. So because all these three fields are now required, so let's add a password of only 4 characters and click sign up. Okay, you can see that account is created, right? And then we can sign in. I did not remember which was the email. Let's go to our database and check user.last. Let's copy this email, and then send the password, and the user is now logged in. Okay, so let's add the validation to on the backend side as well. So let's go to our user.orb model and then first we can add a validation of name. We can add validates, and which attributes we want to validate. We want to validate of name, and what we want to do is we can say that its presence should be true. Presence should be true, right? If I go back to the new, and if I first remove this required to true, so that I can show you the validation is added on the back end. I removed the validation from the front end. So if I sign up, and let's add any email, and just add a dummy password, and if I click sign up, it says that name can't be blank. It means that this validation is coming from the backend. So the name validation is added, let's also add a validation of on the email field, validates email, and then let's make it presence to true as well. Okay, yeah, then email validation is added, but password validation is already added. We don't need to add the validation for the password. Okay, now we want to also add one more validation on the email, because if the email is already taken, the same email should not be registered again. For example, if I add name and I use the same email that is already registered and I create a password, if I click sign up, you can see that now the two users have the same email, but that's not valid. If I can show you user.pluck of email, you can see that this email and this is our same, but we need to add a validation on it. So let's remove our last user, and if I refresh, then go to our sign up form, and then let's go to user.rb and add a validation of validate uniqueness of, and we can add a validation of email because we want to make this email field unique. So now if it should be validates uniqueness of. So if I refresh, and then if I create an account with the email that is already registered, and then we should get an error. If I click sign up, you can see that it says email has already been taken. So means that a uniqueness validation is already added, and then we can also add one more validation on the password, that if I create an account, let's say if I just add only one letter in the password, if I click sign up, you can see that account is created. So let's add a validation of on the length of the password, that minimum at least there should be like 5 characters, and maximum should be like 10 characters. So let's add a validation of validates, and we can want to add a validation of the password, and what we want to do is we can add a validation on the length, and the length should be minimum of 5 characters and then maximum of like 10 characters. Okay, so now if I submit the form again, let's try to use a different email, test, and then if I just add only 3 characters, if I click sign up, you can see that it says password is too short, minimum is 5 characters. So it means that validation is added on the password for the length. So validation is done on our sign up form. Let's go to our login, and if I click login, it says invalid username and password, but let's make these both fields required on the front end. If we go to our sessions and then new, let's make them required. Let's copy it here and add a validation to the password as well. So if I refresh, and if I inspect and show you what attribute required does, it adds this required is equal to required. When this attribute is added on any input element, then it will show a message that it can't be blank. If I click login, you can see that please fill this field. Okay, so let's add a validation, fill this form, and suppose if I enter the incorrect and login, it says invalid username and password. Okay, let's fill with the correct details, and if I click sign in, so the user is now logged in. Now let's add a validation to our post. If we go back to the post and then new, in the same way let's make them required. Let's copy this required from here and then add it on the body as well. If I refresh and then create the post, so it is saying that the title should be required. So this is for the front end, but let's remove the validation on the front end, and then let's first add on the back end. And let's go to the user post.org, and then here we can add the validation. Validates, and what we want to validate is title, and we can make it presence to true. So for the presence, Rails also provides one more helper method, validates presence of title. So instead you can use this one. So if I refresh and then create the post, it is saying that error creating the post, and then it takes to the root path, but it should not. It should remain on the same page and show the error message. So let's fix it in the post controller. So when the post is creating, if it is saved successfully, then redirect to the root path, otherwise we can just render new. So it will render the new form. If we refresh and then if I click create post, okay, instead it should redirect to we can render the new form. But if I can show you in the new form, post new, we are expecting this post instance variable. So in the post controller, let's make this local variable to an instance variable, so that when this alert is showing, and then when we render this new, this post instance variable is initialized. So if we refresh, because the render new, it only render this this view. Instead it goes to the new action. But we can also do like rendering the new form. Instead we can redirect the user to this new, and then it initiates this instance variable again, and then renders this new form again. So but the best way is to show this new, so that the post form that we filled, it remains the same, and we don't lose any data. So for example, if I can show you, if I fill this body and create the post, so we need to change this here as well. Let's fill this to test body and create the post, then go to our console, and we can see okay, so it means that the alert is not showing So let's fix that. So to fix it, we have to add this flash dot now, because in the turbo you can see that the page does not reload, but instead if I refresh and add this test body, if I click create post, it is not showing an alert. Let's refresh. So let's see how can we fix it. So when the post is submitted, it renders this application.html.erb. Let's go back here and refresh, and then create the post and refresh. So it shows this error message when the form is when the page is reloaded. So let's do one thing. Let's, instead of rendering this new, let's redirect the user to this section. So we can use this post / new. Okay, let's refresh here. Test body. If I create the post, you can see it is saying this error creating the post, but what the issue is we don't know. So let's fix this our alert and add the actual error. So we can use this post dot errors dot first dot full underscore message. Okay, let's add the test body and make it and the title blank. Let's create the post. So it is saying that title can't be blank. So the title validation is added on the new post from the backend. And then let's add a validation for the body. So we can add a validation to the body as well. So instead of adding this, duplicating this whole line again, we can just add a comma and add multiple attributes. So let's go back and create post. So it will say title can't be blank. So let's add a title. Then if we click create post, it says that body can't be blank. So our validations are added on the back end. Let's add the validation on the front end as well. We can make them required to true. Okay, let's create post. It is saying title can't be blank, so we can use test post and then test body. If we create the post, so the post is successfully created. Let's delete this empty post. So the post is deleted. So now all the validations are added. And that's all for this video. Hopefully you have learned something new. If you still not have subscribed my channel, please subscribe. And in the next video we will add the authorization in our application. So the users, for example, if the user is logged out, and then he should not be able to create the post, right? Otherwise this user will be blank and we don't know which user created the post. And we should also hide this button so the user can't create, and also hide these actions as well if the user is not logged in. So like anyone should not be able to delete or edit the post and create the post. So I will see you in the next video.